Okay, last video. This is going to be example 3. And this is going to be deriving a triple angle formula. So what this means is basically if I were to ask you to rewrite sine 3x in terms of sine x. So we don't have a set formula. I mean, well, there are some. We're about to make one. But I don't have a chart of formulas for triple angles. But we can use everything we know to create a formula for ourselves for sine of 3x. So deriving a formula means we're going to come up with the formula ourselves. Okay? So here's our problem. We're going to try to come up with a formula for sine 3x. So we can start by breaking up sine 3x using our sum formula from last week. So I have written down, do you remember these formulas from last week? We have the sum formula, so we could always break an angle down into two different pieces that are being added together. So I could take 3x and turn it into the sine of 2x plus 1x. Now we have formulas for double angles, right? So we can start here, and now we use our sum formula. So the sine of one angle plus another equals sine u cosine v cosine u, or plus cosine u sine v. I always like to label mine like this because it helps me to not get confused. So we have sine u times cosine v plus cosine u times sine v. So that's the formula for the sum of those two, the sine of those two angles. Now we can break this down further. Remember, our goal is to turn this into terms of just sine. So we do need to eventually get rid of these cosines. Now, we're going to take care of this right here and this right here using our double angle formulas. We're going to break those down. See if I have room. I might scoot my equal sign over a little bit. Okay, so the sine of 2x, here's our formulas. The sine of 2x is going to be 2 sine x cosine x. So we're going to change that to 2 sine x cosine x. And then we still have this cosine x, so right, all this came from that. And then we still have times cosine x plus, now we're going to break this one down. Remember that we're trying to get everything in terms of sine, so we're going to use, remember cosine had a bunch of different ones. So, oh, my screen froze. Oh well. Okay, so we've got cosine of 2u can equal this, or this or this. We have a bunch of different options. Well, because we're trying to get it in terms of sine, I'm going to use this one because it's the one that's in only terms of sine. So I'm going to change cosine 2x into 1 minus 2 sine squared x. So that became that. And now we still have this times sine x over here. All right, now we're going to combine some things. We've got cosine x times cosine x. Well, I know that cosine squared can be turned into a form of sine squared. So if we combine these, right, cosine times cosine is cosine squared, plus, and then I'm going to distribute this over here. We have sine x times 1 is sine x. Sine x times negative 2 sine squared x. That becomes negative 2 sine to the third x. Or sine x to the third. I still don't know why we write it like that, but that's how we write it. Okay, so everything is in sine except for this. But if you remember your trig identities, right? Remember cosine squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x. So we can turn this into this. So we have 2 sine x times 1 minus sine squared plus sine x minus 2 sine x to the third. Can we see all that on there? Okay, now we're going to distribute this, right? Multiply this by both of those. We're all in terms of sine now. That was our goal. And now we're just going to simplify this. So 2 sine x times 1 is just itself. And then that times that becomes negative 2. And then sine to the third. So we have sine squared times sine. Gives me to the third. Plus sine x minus 2 sine the third. Now, last step, we're just going to combine. Let me give myself a little more space. Combine any like terms. We have 2 sine x and a 1 sine x, so that can become 3 sine x. Those are like terms. And then we've got a sine x cubed and a sine x cubed. So we've got negative 2 minus 2. That becomes minus 4. And now we are simplified. So this is our formula for sine, the triple angle for sine. Now your problem that you're going to work out, where's my sheet of practice problems? May have lost it. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, I'll just write it on, oh, there it is. Okay, so I've given you, these are your 3 problems. So this was the first one, the second one, and now the third one is going to be, you are going to rewrite the cosine triple angle, so cosine 3x in terms of cosine x. So very similar to what we just did, but you're going to be doing the cosine of 3x. So take what you learned from that example and apply it to this problem.